Welcome back, everyone. We are at the outset of the second test of the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. And if the first game has anything to go by, we are in for a roller coaster. A test that had 5 centuries, a jaw dropping twin 100 by Rishabh Pant in England, a 5 wicket haul by Bumrah, and a mammoth 371 run lead in the second innings. And still, India lost the match. It was one of those games where the scoreboard told one story and the result told another. There are plenty of positives to hold on to, but there are also a few big cracks that might just put India on the back foot as we head into Edgbaston. Let's get straight into the biggest issue from the last test, which is fielding. India dropped 10 catches in the match. 6 of them came in the first innings alone. This hasn't happened for the last 5 years. In fact, this is the most catches India has dropped in a test match since 2011. Just to give you a sense of how shocking that is, India dropped more catches in this single match than they had in their last 5 test matches combined. Let that sink in. And Yashasvi Jaiswal found himself in the spotlight for the wrong reasons, having dropped 4 catches. Jadeja usually electric on the field, but spilled a sitter at the backward point. Swai Sudarshan dropped Jamie Smith at short leg. It was miserable, absolutely miserable. How does a side expect to win a test in England with butterfingers?
See, I'll go with a one-liner. Win your matches. And while dropping these many catches, you can't expect to win in England, where ball swings and comes to the slips all the time. So it was shocking that Jadeja even dropped a catch. So talking about Jaiswal, there is a stat. He scored 101 in the first, 4 in the second, which amounts to 105.
Yeah.
Then when it comes to number of catches that he dropped Ben Duckett on 15, which amounted to 62 for him. Then dropped Pope on 60, who went on to score 106, and Brook on 83, who got to score 99. So adding up all those extra runs, it is 4 more than Yashasvi Jaiswal who scored. So it amounts to 109 runs. So we can't say solely that he has given it, but this is the result of his dropping. So the bowlers should have been proactive, but fielding is expected to be even more proactive than the bowling, because it is the fielding that lifts the bowlers up, because that is how you can give bowlers confidence to come and bowl to those English batsmen who score runs freely without any pressure.
Great.
And talking about other catches, I think players will have to lift up themselves. They have to lift the fielding standards, because the fielding standards were very low compared to what we saw in the Kohli era or the Rohit Sharma era. So the Gill era has got off to a turbulent start in terms of fielding. I think they have to lift it up, and whoever is the fielding coach, they have to sit with the team. So the timetable has to come. I saw some memes on Instagram. Monday catch practice, Tuesday catch practice. So there have to be a lot of catch practice for the next 1 week in order to get prepared for the Edgbaston test.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any fielding medals given this time.
See, I think the analysis is correct, but I think we shouldn't be too literal about what has happened here. We should think about this holistically. This is the best I've felt after a loss in a long, long time. I feel hopeful. I feel more hopeful than I was before the series began. I thought that our batting, with very little experience in England and all these new guys coming in, what we'll be debating at the end of the first test match. The fact that our batting came good, we made nearly 800 runs and 500s, gives me confidence. The fact that we dropped a lot of catches, again, worrisome, but I don't think it's a skill issue. It's an issue where Headingley is a bad sighting ground, one. And I'm not making excuses for dropping catches. Of course, catches win you matches. But it's a bad sighting ground, and it could be that they were not switched on or not concentrating fully. That's why the catches went away. What I'm really worried about is our bowling. With Bumrah, we could get only 15 wickets, admittedly with all those dropped catches. So without Bumrah, we need a weapon. We need a wicket-taking weapon, and that's where I think we'll have a discussion moving on. And finally, our bowlers lost us the test match, not just while bowling, but while batting as well, because they contributed, 60 runs over the 2 innings. So bowling and bowlers is where my worry would be, not just because they performed so poorly, but because they were supposed to be a strong suit at the beginning of the series.
I think we underestimate this change of balls and how we need to practice. Like if you think of Dukes is supposed to be having a lesser grip. That's why spinners don't thrive in Duke's ball, and therefore it's very easy for the ball to pop out, right? When you don't have that much of a grip to hold. Part of the problem is also that we have not spent too much time acclimatizing in England, and we spoke about this, right? IPL is going to dampen our chances significantly because usually an Indian team that goes to England would travel a month in advance, start preparing at least 20, 25 days in advance, start preparing, play a few, league matches and the entire team plays. So you obviously get a good practice. I don't think we had any of those, right? So part of the reason is also poor preparation, which BCCI and Gambhir have to own up to.
And then we come to India's chronic problem, collapses. In this game alone, as rightly said by Jagdeep Uncle, India lost 13 wickets for just 72 runs. The first innings saw them slide from 430 for 3 to 471 all out. And then in the second innings, from 333 for 4 to 364 all out. That's not just a collapse, that's a nosedive. The top five batsmen put together 721 runs and the bottom six just 65. That gulf is alarming. It's embarrassing. And what's the mechanism India needs to put in place to arrest these falls? What's the strategy and what's the solution?
I think it's not only a collapse, it's a collapse like a deck of cards. I would start with that. There are other questions as well that come to my mind as well. Is there any mental conditioning given to these set of players? If I remember, just before the India England series, we had that WTC final. And the way Mitchell Stark has contributed, he wanted to save that test match. So that sort of thing, if Australia can do, why not India? So the mental conditioning in the Australian side is far better than India. Is that what we want to say? If that is the fact, then I think India should leave about test matches and they should focus on T20 and ODI cricket. The bottom six, at least, I'm not expecting a few hundreds from them. At least 30, 40 runs, which one or two players can contribute. And we have already seen this in 2021 test match. Remember the game where Shami scores a 50?
Yeah.
And the next moment Kohli declares and they come for let's go for 60 overs. So that's the thing we need to apply here as well. But the mindset has to be the same. That's what the point is.
Yeah, to add to the numbers as well. See, after the fall of the fifth wicket for England, the next five batters added 189 runs, which is a really big number compared to what India added. Things as how you said, the conditioning, the mental conditioning, or the batting practice that the bowlers need. I think it should happen sooner than later. Else, we would be seeing a lot more collapses in the coming days. I think it will not be only in England. We can even experience it in Indian conditions as well if the bowlers are not prepared well enough to face a collapse.
I think one piece we have to keep in mind is we've historically struggled, except when Ashwin and this is the value of Ashwin and Akshar, right, that we used to have, who could actually shore up some of the batting collapses and obviously blunt the opposition. This is part of the process of finding the combination of how we solve for some of the lower order batting. I know India has punted on Shardul Thakur. Hopefully, Nitish Reddy gets a chance soon. But I think this is part of the ongoing process of figuring it out, right? Like Jadeja at some point has to go. Yeah, fair enough, right? Like it's definitely contributed to the collapse, but this is part of a team that's rebuilding. So it's bound to happen.
If you see the comparison between our tailenders could make runs and England made a lot of runs is we have to compare the respective bowling attacks too. Josh Tongue went from none for 60 odd to about 3 or 4 wickets in both innings. He wiped the tail off. Similarly, we would have expected Bumrah to do it. And also, we need to have another wicket-taking bowler, either a leggy or an out-and-out pace bowler who can get rid of the tail or polish the tail off. And in a funny sort of way, I think Kuldeep, being a left-hander tail-ender, might be able to resist a little better than what Siraj and Prasidh Krishna were able to do. We really played with 3 number 11s or 4 number 11s. So it's about finding that right bowling combination. If we had somebody who could block, maybe Jadeja could have given us 20, 30 more runs. But again, I hate to be sounding positive when we've lost a test match, but I feel good about a lot more things than I feel bad about after this test match.
And the two names that we look forward to ahead of the first test, Sai Sudarshan and Karun Nair didn't click. That's one part of the reason why collapse like that happened. For example, if Karun Nair had held the ground with KL Rahul while he was batting, we would have seen some more runs come in the second innings and possibly we would have taken the test match away in our favor. And yes, Pant, Jagdeep Uncle and Sudi Uncle were right in calling him the X Factor. The man has made history by becoming the first Indian and the only wicketkeeper after Andy Flower to score twin centuries in England. The joke going around is that India and the opposition panic when Pant is at the crease. It's true. Even he seemed shaken talking to himself while he was batting, saying that he should have played the straight ball straight and not gone for a risky swing. Classic Rishabh Pant. But here's the question: how does India make sure that they don't become overly reliant on him? Because when his highs come, they're glorious, but when the lows hit, they can break the team's spine.
See, Pant, there was never any doubt really that he is the X factor. But did I expect him to make twin hundreds in the first test match? Surely no. I think he'll score a lot more runs. I think Indian batting will score a lot more runs because the pitches are expected to be flat and dry for the entire summer. The other part is I don't think India is completely reliant on him. The fact that he's being moved to number 5 now and almost permanently so will give him more responsibility and he'll bat better. His average from here on in will only become better. But our batting really stood up. Gill made 100 in the first innings, which ideally should set up the test match. Karun Nair and Sai both got out to a duck in the first inning, which rarely happens, but we nearly made 500. And I think Karun Nair and Sai both showed enough promise in the second innings, which makes me hopeful that we will probably see them improve their contributions. And let's not forget KL Rahul. He played really well too. So overall, I think our batting will prosper, and it's a good thing that the pitches would support them. English bowling is not that great, as we all saw. We need to get our combination right. Our bowlers have to step up, and hopefully we don't drop that many catches. I think we'll be okay.
Now the eternal debate: India's team balance in Sena conditions. How many all-rounders is too many or too less? Should India have played Shardul Thakur? Was he the right choice? Or would a specialist batsman, specialist bowler combo have been more effective? Maybe someone like Nitish Kumar Reddy. And then will India go with a traditional strength of two spinners, Jadeja and Kuldeep? Or will we see a wild card like Washington Sundar step in?
See, we already know Shardul Thakur's experience in England, but I think he wasn't used to the potential that we have expected from the team actually. So he was pretty much underutilized. He was there to bowl only when the main bowlers got tired, and his batting was really underwhelming, to be very honest. So I would pretty much say that Nitish Kumar Reddy should have been persisted with, despite Shardul Thakur's English experience. So what I say is he has got an amazing stat after playing a grueling test series in Australia. 5 games, 9 innings, 298 runs with a highest of 114 runs at the MCG. So that is a brilliant knock actually. He also batted with the tail in that game. So he managed people very well in that. His bowling numbers might be underwhelming with just 5 wickets and 8 innings, but I think you can fine tune him according to the English conditions so that he can come really good and he can be your premier all rounder that you are looking forward to. Hardik Pandya was there in the team. He was there as a premier all-rounder. Now you can fill that gap pretty easily with Nitish Kumar Reddy with a little bit of fine-tuning and a little bit of training. So I think Shardul Thakur, if you're not going to use him, why do you even pick him? So that's my question. I think he was simply fielding, and even in the fielding, he was not up to standard. He was just lying down, for which Jadeja bowled, and he got even scoldings from him. So I think why do you want these kind of lazy all-rounders in the team when Nitish Kumar can give his life for you?
See, after Rohit and Virat are gone, everybody was asking who's gonna bat. Gill showed the temperament. Jaiswal showed the temperament. Pant showed the temperament. They have taken that responsibility. Then why not the bowlers? Why not the all-rounders? Why I'll be asking those questions as well. So it's always about the mental temperament that needs to be developed there.
See, I think, to your question on what should be the combination for Sena, right? I mean, India has to back playing 4 frontline bowlers and 1 all-rounder, right? If India can't do that, we're not going to win. Right now, the challenge India has, and that's why it's a tricky one, right? It's very easy to comment, our bowling attack sort of separately and distinctly from our batting, attack. It doesn't work that way, right? Like, the challenge India has, and they always have to sort of hedge against a potential batting collapse. And that's why you saw Shardul Thakur, added. But if you look at where he has done well, it's usually in seaming conditions. He's not a swing bowler. So the question is, like, why do you continue to back him? I just don't understand. I don't understand Shardul Thakur's selection at all, right? So I think India has to rethink about this. We've got to go with 4 frontline bowlers. So to Jagdeep's point, Kuldeep has to be part of the plan. I don't know what wrong Akashdeep did. Akashdeep would suit the English conditions to the team. So I don't know why he was not picked, right, for the first test. I think these are pieces that they have to both think about, right, and sort of consider. But it has to be 4 frontline bowlers and 1 all-rounder to me. Nothing less, nothing.
The big news is Jasprit Bumrah might be rested for the next test at Edgbaston, and that's a very big news. The man has been holding the attack together, breathing fire with every spell. Without him, Prasadh Krishna and Shardul Thakur look like ODI bowlers in a test match, given they have 6+ economies, wayward, inconsistent, lacking a bite. And on the other side, England brings in a returning Jofra Archer, but he's coming after a 1,500-day gap in red ball cricket. His last red ball appearance was in March 2021. But make no mistake, he comes with his pace, hostility, and raw energy. Ben Stokes, Josh Tung are already in rhythm. India needs to find a way to match fire with fire, but how?
See, Jofra Archer will breathe fire. Right from ball one, he will put India under pressure. So it doesn't mean that he would be underprepared even if he's coming after 1,500 days. So he's just played a couple of county matches just before this series began. He is well equipped and he is bowling in good lines and lengths. I think he's hitting the straps correctly. So you can't underestimate him, and he's going to put India in a lot more trouble, I think, compared to the bowlers who have already been in the England side in the first test. I think if he teams up with guys like Braden Cars or Ben Stokes, I think he can definitely put pressure on the middle order, the top order. So he is definitely a fear factor coming from the England side. Talking about Bumrah, I don't think you should rest him after a loss. If you had won the first test and you're resting him for the second test, yeah, okay, somewhat makes sense, but I don't think you should be resting him. See, the other bowlers will have to step up. It's not that if you rest Bumrah, it is going to work. See, it's not going to work. You're playing for the World Test Championship. So if you lose even one game, I think that will put a big dent on your points going forward. So I don't think you have to rest a Bumrah for all these things. So I think you need to manage the workload properly, and you need to put your best team on the pitch in order to win in England. So it's not so easy. It's not like Australia. You're not like Australia. So I think even if you rest Mitchell Stark, someone like Jai Richardson can come and bowl and take 5 wickets. No, it's not going to work in India. I think in India, it has to be the Bumrah factor who will be the leader of the attack, and he's the one who can hold this attack together, just like your question states. So what I say is, if England are bringing their best bowler in, India have to go in with their best bowler. So Bumrah-less bowling attack will definitely be like an old tiger which has lost all its teeth. So it is no more useful for hunting. So that's how it will be.
Like, of course, right? It's going to be a huge loss. I don't think there's an equivalent bowler. I mean, Kuldeep, like to Jagdeep's point, should play. If you look at Edgbaston over the last 10 tests, it suited the batters a lot more. And the wicket tends to be very flat and dry over the last 2 or 3 days. So you have an opportunity where you could potentially have Bumrah rested, but really get the likes of Kuldeep to fire. And then you can sort of then think about, Siraj obviously will play because of the experience that he carries. And much like how we've spoken about Gill in the past, right? Siraj, this whole Bumrah noise, right, is affecting Siraj a lot more than what we think it is. Right? I think you've got to stop this Bumrah nonsense and just focus. Look, Bumrah cannot play every test match, and to me, I would value availability over ability any given day. If Siraj can play every single test and can sort of, obviously, right, he can improve his contribution, he is to be more valuable than a Bumrah who'll come in one test. And so I think we got to cut this noise of Bumrah and give Siraj the responsibility and say, go for it. I think Siraj will do a lot more when you give him a pat on the back than this constant scrutiny of how he's doing versus Bumrah, right? So I think Siraj will come good in this test. And then hopefully we'll see what the other combination will be. And maybe, instead of Shardul, you either play Reddy, or in my view, they should play Akashdeep. But I think, the wicket will aid us. It will aid us, suit our spinners. It will suit our batters. So here we have a chance, right, where we could actually do better. Why not bring?
And here's a stat which says that Bumrah has bowled 410 overs since 2024. That's the most a bowler has bowled across the world in Test cricket since 2024. I think Pat Cummins or Mitchell Stark has bowled 200 plus overs. So when that's the trend, having a bowler to bowl 400 overs and then asking him to play all 5 test matches is just brutal. We can't expect him to play all 5 test matches. We obviously have to rest him for a couple of them. I think that's the right decision, but
200 overs bowled by Stark and Cummins because they have Hazelwood with them, they have a Cameron Green with them, they have a Bo Webster who can also bowl on the same vein. But here, apart from Bumrah, we don't have so much quality. I think Siraj can bowl. I know Siraj can bowl. He did well in the Brisbane Test in 2021, but he's not the same Siraj. And why not chip in with an Arshdeep Singh? Give him a chance. Give him some variety. Left arm variety comes into the game. I think it might rattle some batsmen in the England side. So you have to put bowlers who can share the burden. See, Siraj and Prasidh are scoring centuries with the ball, which is not helping the cause for India as well as for Bumrah. That is why the difference between the overs bowled by Bumrah and Pat Cummins is so huge that you have to put up a separate ranking for Bumrah over there. So I think You need to bring bowlers who can share the burden. Harshit Rana or Harshdeep Singh, bring some variety into the team. So I think Siraj and Prasidh Krishna were literally peppered by the English bowlers. So you need kind of bowlers who can give the same threat that Bumrah gives. So even if you miss Bumrah from one game, I think the other bowler can definitely still give the torture that Bumrah can give to the opposition.
Now, let's talk leadership. India's just played its first game under Shubman Gill's captaincy. It's too early to judge, but comparisons with Virat Kohli are already floating around. Some believe that KL Rahul or Bumrah might have been a better long-term choices. Jadeja himself had thrown his hat into the ring, albeit casually during the Ashwin's podcast. And the question is Gill the right man to carry India's red ball dreams forward? Does he have the steel to do it?
Yeah, first thing I would say, just give time. So I think don't behave like MS Dhoni with Gurutraj Gaikwad. So I think so. Give Gill some time. Give him some at least 1 or 2 years. Let him work with the team. Let him mingle with the team. Let him put out his plans. Every captain comes in with a new project for his team. So he needs his time to execute his plans. So I think this is just the start. You need to give him a lot more time. You can't put the blame on him entirely just because you lost one game. See, there are a lot of places to address. I think the tail under runs contribution, the bowling apart from Bumrah, the fielding, there are a lot of things to address. So let's see how Gill does in his style. He should have some style of dealing with it. Just give him some time. I think we should not be comparing him with Virat. Virat is great. I think, see, even Virat was given a lot of time. He got to captain from the Australian series in 2014-15. So that is when he became that full-time captain. So it didn't start on a good note. It started on a sore note, and that is from where he learned. He applied his technique. He applied his plans to the team, and he built a strong unit which dominated cricket for a long time. At least till Rohit Sharma took over. Even after Rohit Sharma took over, I think the principles of Kohli was still there. So I think that is how Gill has to be given time. So give him the time, and he will slowly make this unit a unit to be feared of. He's a young guy. Give him some time.
A very clear mindset I could see from his point of view in the press conference was that he wants to score a lot of runs. He wants to be on the very aggressive side in terms of making runs. So that shows the mindset that I want to rule. I also want to rule. I don't want to get compared with Virat Kohli. I don't want to get compared with Rohit Sharma. I want to make my own legacy. So the mindset is very clear, and it's not that he has not led a team before. He has led GT and he has done pretty well with the type of environment he has got and the type of time he has got. I think he's going to be the best captain India will ever produce in the test match because he is very calm and composed. So, and he's aggressive at times also.
And finally, we arrive at the fortress Edgbaston, a venue where India has never won 8 matches, 7 defeats, and 1 draw, and the draw came way back in 1986. The ghosts of the past loom large. This is not just another ground, this is a graveyard for Indian hopes. Can this team, after everything that's happened, pull off a miracle?
See, the last 5 test matches in Edgbaston, 4 of the test matches have been won by teams chasing in the fourth innings. So I guess India have to pull up their straps. I think, see, if India are batting first and England are chasing, I think we need to improve the bowling. And if India is chasing, I think they need to bat with a lot more accuracy and be proactive. Talking about Edgbaston being a graveyard, I think there are ways that you can change it. So I think it's just about cultivating that mindset that this week is a new week of Test cricket and we'll go and create a new record. So that is how you have to go into this Test game. So you can change the statistics. It's not that these records are going to stand for a very long time.
So there are no guarantees really, and similarly, there is no guarantees that England will hold on to their record in Edgbaston. These days, these records don't mean anything anyway, right? I don't know whether India goes into the mindset of saying, "Oh, we've lost 7 and we'll have to lose this one, or we will lose this one." The pitches in England are completely different now than they were even 5 years ago. They are preparing pitches to suit their own style of play. And I don't even think it matters much whether you lose or win the toss unless it's a completely cloudy day or something. I'm not worried about whether India bats first or second. They have to bat big in the first inning, which we actually did in the previous test match. My consistent theme has been we did fairly well in our so-called weak suite, which is batting. So now we have to address the balance. We surely have to pay wicket-taking bowlers. We need to take 20 wickets. For that, we'll have to take those catches as well. Keep focusing on what you have done right. Play time. KL Rahul played his natural game. Pant played his natural game. Gill was a bit more aggressive than what he usually is. If we keep doing those things right, get our combination right, Prasidh hopefully keeps on bowling as he started to bowl well towards the second half of the test match. And looks like Arshdeep and Akashdeep both might play. We will have a decent sort of bowling attack. Kuldeep must play again at the cost of repeating myself. Hopefully, all this concoction will come together and we will have a much better test match and hopefully better our record at Edgbaston.
And possibly in 5 days' time, we'll know which side of history India stands on. Thank you. Keep watching our channel, like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.
अंदर दा कुत्ता अज कड़िए अग दुनिया पेट्रोल चल सुटिए अंदर दा कुत्ता अज कड़िए अग दुनिया पेट्रोल चल सुटिए पाउडर की लाइनों का रखेगा कौन हिसाब हा उड़ता पंजाब